it's Janae Bauer and welcome to August session on Return It Backward, vowing to give and live with gratitude. You know, I am so grateful for not only it being this beautiful August month in Minnesota where we can be out in the sunshine enjoying life, but I am just so grateful to talk to you about one of my greatest passions, and I think it's one of the greatest, hopefully, examples that I can be in life to teach others, and that is about the power of gratitude. In fact, I've heard people talk about it. It is the highest emotion of love that we can share with others, and it's something that doesn't come naturally, unfortunately. It's something that we must be taught. We must practice it, but yet it's something that can be so impactful. So I just really hope that you will take this month, and that's why in the companion guide, every month I encourage you to write down your gratitudes, and that this month you'll get some extra insights around gratitude. So first of all, I wrote a little bit about something called the snowball effect. You know, does gratitude really make a difference? And if it does, what does that look like? And it's an idea if you can picture snowball, which of course right now I don't want to at all, because before we know it, it will be that winter time. But you know, if a snowball's rolling down the river, if it's rolling down the hill, and it can start to gain momentum, right? And it can build and build and get bigger and bigger. You know, unfortunately, that's like with negativity or positivity. Whatever we focus on, whatever we let to roll in us and through us, tends to get bigger. And I wrote an example of just how the snowball effect, unfortunately negatively, was just going on in my lives. And you know, I know that all of us have those moments where it just seems one thing after another is, you know, that, oh, this is wrong, and then this is wrong, and then this happened. Or the opposite, where great things keep happening and we just feel so magical in our day and our experiences. So I think that that is an important thing, and one way that has really helped me to make gratitude truly official and important part of my life is you know, really truly living it. And I gotta tell you, one of the things came from, there's this book called Thanks, How Practicing Gratitude Can Make You Happier by Dr. Robert Emmons. And this is kind of what I consider oftentimes like the gratitude Bible. And what I mean by that is, you know, it has scientific and spiritual research on the power of gratitude and all these psychological studies on how it can improve health and well-being and, you know, so many kinds of benefits. So I was so inspired after I had read this book, and one of the things he talked about in there was, you know, if you tend to have a spiritual or religious affiliation, which I do, then, you know, you might even want to go to that next step of creating something called gratitude vows. And I just love the idea. And in fact, late in the morning, I guess at that point, I created gratitude vows. So it's quite a big list here if you take a look at that. And I can have a download of these if anybody's interested in seeing what it looks like. And it probably won't really mean much to many of you, but the point of this is that the idea of taking a vow, for those of you who are married, you know, we vowed to our spouse for a bond of togetherness forever. And so, you know, it's funny there, my vows were not quite this wordy, but obviously more impactful. But one of the things I said is that the first thing I said, and I think that's really the essence of this, is with God as my gratitude and spiritual partner, we vow to live the message of gratitude to become the great example of giving it away. My second one says, conduct my Return It Backward campaign as I go on a rampage of appreciation to all those that have made a difference in my life by giving thanks and giving back my time, talent, and treasure. So this is really where I started this whole idea of a Return It Backward campaign. You know, many of you might have remembered the movement on pay it forward. You know, how do we do a good deed and not go back to the person who did you the good deed, but to pay it forward, to do 3 more good deeds to 3 more people. And in fact, the novel and the book I just loved, and it actually is one of my all-time favorites, and it really became a movement out there, and that pay it forward lingo even today still resonates with people. So I thought, I love that, but also how many times do we actually though go back and return it backward? How many times do we truly say, you have made an incredible difference in my life? And I didn't want to live with regrets. I didn't want to be one of those people who didn't do this or didn't go back and give back. So I had started, after I was inspired, reading another story, and this idea kind of, jiggling in my mind, that I thought, you know what, I'm going to start doing that. So for years now, at different times, I've been going back and saying thank you to close family and friends and strangers, authors, teachers, just different people who have impacted my life, to say thank you, and here's how you've mattered. And I'll never forget one special Return It Backward I did was for someone I've written about quite a bit in my stories is one of my best friends, Julie Wiley. And it was at a time when her mother was dying of cancer. And I just had this idea of writing them a note just to say, thank you to you for raising this incredible daughter who has become so dear to me and has taught me so much about life. And in fact, she's amazing with giving cards and thank yous and everything. So I just feel so grateful that I was able to say thank you in so many ways. So I just encourage you to think about ways that you can return it backward, and I share more reflections with you around that as well. I had mentioned Julie and the power of thank you notes. I talk about an author in there who typically isn't one who did thank you notes, but he needed to really bring that power of gratitude and perspective in his life. So he spent 365 days, a whole year, writing a thank you note to somebody. And I just love that idea and concept. And I grew up, my parents taught me the power of thank you notes. And in fact, I was just sitting down the other day with each of my boys about a stack of these thank you notes, asking them to give thank you for invitations that we were invited to parties, to their coaches of the teams. We just finished a season with 3 boys playing baseball with a variety of coaches. And this is one actually that my son wrote to his coach, which is his dad. And it was really powerful because it was it was the only thank you card he had received, and coaches spend a tremendous amount of time and dedication volunteering their efforts. And I just think it's important, whether it's your own family member or not, to say thank you. So the power of thank you can make a tremendous amount of difference. Also share a little bit too about the idea of love letters, and the greatest love letter that we can have is the Bible. And I get into that in some of the upcoming months, even more about God's love letter to our life. And in fact, that I know there's this beautiful quote that He's given us that resource, and then we are His hands and feet. We are His love letter to the world in the difference that we make in our lives. So as this month was going on, I was just thinking about that. And of course, I was actually thinking about the love letter thing. And I am a words of affirmation girl, and I loved writing letters, and I still do. And receiving letters are so powerful. So I'll never forget my boyfriend in high school. We dated for 3 years. And one of the things that we did a ton together was to write love letters to each other. And so I was thinking about that. And as one of the things that I was doing that year of my 20th anniversary of high school is just thinking about the people that I grew up with who've made a difference in my life, with different teachers or coaches. And then I thought of my boyfriend, and I actually wrote him a letter that I include in there of just thanking him for being my first true love, and how much our relationship, the great relationship, the foundation that we had really impacted who I married today, and a big part of how I love and how I expect others to treat me. So I haven't given it to him yet, so hopefully I'll have an opportunity at some point to do so. And sometimes our letters might not be meant to ever give, but the power of writing them and sending it out to the universe too can have tremendous effects. So, and as different cards as well. And one of the things that, as I was doing all this letter writing, I was having a hard time, finding the perfect card to send. So I created my own gratitude cards, where it's a chance for me to say, thank you. You've made this tremendous difference, where they're blank inside and they're just a special note with a bookmark that says how you've touched my life and how to pass it on. And so I love giving these cards out to special people. And in fact, I just wrote one today to somebody and giving them as gifts, if it's the heroes in your lives or just those loved ones that we do not say it enough. And in fact, John Maxwell talks about, verbal recognition and appreciation is important. We remember that with our hearts. But the power of the written word can transcend time. And in fact, if I could have a show of hands out there with how many of you, I bet you nearly all of you have kept some kind of a special card or note or something that you received from somebody who matters in your life. And if you haven't, I really encourage you to do, because they're wonderful to go back and look at that person's handwriting and the words that they mean to share with you. So, from there, then I just really kind of keep talking about how the power of faith and gratitude arises. During the month of August is our vacation Bible school time. And this is just such an incredible experience that I've been blessed to be a part of as a teacher, and then to have my boys go through the program as well. And it's just incredible, truly, to be part of like an elementary sized school coming together to praise God and to give thanks and just to learn more about Him. And so this whole idea is that when we can let faith arise in us, it can come through us and then to others through us as well. And so to extol and to give that power of gratitude is important. And in fact, when I had my students, we were kind of talking about God and writing Him a special note, I came up with this poem that I include that I just thought I would share with you now. Very simple, but God is love. God is love. He gives us blessings from above. I love God with all of my heart, longing to be with Him, never apart. I love God with all of my soul. He is the one who makes me feel whole. I love God with all of my mind, making my thoughts loving and kind. I love God with all of my strength. Sharing His love, I go to great lengths. I send my thanks to Thee above, knowing deep in my heart, God is love. So, it's just this power of gratitude and thankfulness can truly be medicine for our mind, body, and soul. And that month I just had some just really beautiful experiences where I felt just the presence of the Holy Spirit. I just felt this warm embrace of gratefulness that I don't know how to describe it. I guess it's best when you kind of read some of the reflections, but I hope that you too will know that this is such a powerful antidote, is how do we can shift and change our perspective so that we can learn to open up our hearts to gratitude. Because that is truly what love is a gratefulness, a joyfulness that we, first of all, I believe, have to have for God. And then when we have that true love, that love affair with God that we've been studying together, from then it's just an overflow and it spills out to everyone you meet. And when you practice that gratefulness and that attitude, it's just a ripple effect. And I'll just never forget how in one of my vacation Bible school classes, a girl gave me fresh flowers from her garden. And I just thought that was the sweetest thing, which then got my mind on this domino effect to give my husband flowers on our anniversary. And then when I went to the store, we were celebrating, I think it was our 14th anniversary at the time, so I thought, why don't I get 14 roses, but I could get 2 dozen, and I had 10 more roses that I could then give away. And had I not received that gratitude, I don't think I would have done that. So you don't know the chain effect and ripple you can have with a kind word, with a special deed, and with a grateful heart. So from my heart to yours, be love.